Let's go.
After being somewhat.
There it is. Suge Knight. Big Suge. Now, I've heard people keep making up stories and saying things, but I told you the more people talk, they're going to end up tripping over their own words. So now Suge Knight wants to bring up Reggie Wright Jr. Right? Him and Reggie. Well, that's all you hear about, right? Suge and Reggie, Suge and Reggie, Suge and Reggie. Now, let's get to this. This daddy's boy, Reggie Wright Jr., who's the head of security, is going to make a plan with David Kenner, the lawyer, to put a hit on Tupac Shakur on Las Vegas night. That's what now Suge Knight is telling us. That's what he's telling us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not making this up. Suge Marion Knight is saying that Reggie Wright Jr. and David Kenner put out the hit on Tupac Shakur. That he just learned of some information. That his former lawyer, David Kenner, and Reggie Wright Jr. put the hit out. First of all, to the outside world who don't know what's going on, I can understand y'all having this type of opinion. I can understand this train of thought, this thought pattern. I can understand that. I can see y'all, falling for this. Let me tell y'all how dangerous of thinking this is and how much it don't make sense. In 1996, because people love to go to 96, Suge Knight was probably one of the most feared men in LA, rich and dangerous. Right? Reggie Wright Jr. is a fanboy. He's a fan of these artists. He's a fan of Suge. Reggie Wright Jr. is not going to make a call. He ain't going to make a goddamn decision of that magnitude to assassinate an artist that's bringing in money without that man knowing something about it. So if you said Reggie did this, you saying you knew about it. Because anybody who know anything, these Gen Zs, they ain't gonna know. But for people like us who know better, if Reggie was doing something, you damn well better believe you knew about it. And if he was going to do something of that magnitude, everybody knows that ain't in Reggie's wheelhouse. To do on his own. He ain't no act-alone individual. He ain't no strong-minded individual thought person. Reggie is a go-along, get-along human being. Hit the like button up, good people. The Cash App is Carceno, Karceno. Now, stay focused. because this was going to get pretty interesting. Because, see, Suge Knight bumped his head. Because he forgot, if that's the case, right, you put Reggie in charge of your company when you went to jail. Reggie was organizing the checks. Everybody had to talk through Reggie. So when did you find out? Because you put Reggie in charge and you worked with Reggie for years after Pac. Don't tell me you just found out some David Kenner and all this stuff now. Really? You just found out in 2020 while you was locked up? Who told you? How did it leak to you? The Rocker Man told you? Who told you about Reggie Wright Jr.? How did it leak to you in jail? It's misinformation. Misinformation. You're not hearing it clearly, buddy. If Suge Knight, who told you 18 different stories about what happened, tells you now that David Kenner set up the money and did all this to get Reggie Wright Jr., and Reggie did this and he acted out with my wife. Why was you still in contact with Reggie Wright Jr.? Why you was trying to do deals with Reggie Wright Jr.? This was after you said that years ago. Because years ago, you've already stated that it was your wife, Sharita. It was my wife, Sharita, and she got with Reggie and them to do it. First, you threw your ex-wife under the bus and said Sharita. Now you saying David Kenner was involved. So now with Sharita and Reggie Wright, you were saying that then and still working with Reggie. You was in jail talking to Reggie about trying to do some podcast deal. So if what you saying is true, now, Suge, if what you saying is true, how come you still hanging with Reggie? Or was trying to contact Reggie? You just talked to Reggie less than 2 years ago. Don't that make sense to y'all? Don't that make you want to question what's going on? Don't you think that's a bit weird? I think that's a bit weird, man. That you turn around and bring Reggie Wright Jr. and blaming everybody else to work with him. That this man, the head of security, is going to act on his own to go out and take out Tupac Shakur. On his own. Cause a gang war. That man, Reggie Wright Jr., he was the ringleader. That man follows orders. He's an order follower. That's what Reggie Wright Jr. is. He's an order follower. He gonna follow his daddy orders. He gonna follow what Suge tell him to do. You know that. So if you were saying all of this years ago about Reggie Wright Jr., why are you contacting Reggie, trying to get Reggie to work for you and do some work to try to set up some podcast deal for you? When you saw him and Mob doing that, you had reached out to Reggie. Did you not? So somewhere down the line have to make it make sense. If Tupac is my man, it's my right-hand man, my main artist that messed up this messed up my whole life if I'm Suge Knight. I went to jail behind this night. This whole night, I was thrown in jail and everything because of this. If that's the case, if what they saying is true, and this was all a stage setup and all this was going on, and this is the way it went down, and Reggie was the one that did it. And you saying that, why was you reaching out to Reggie? It's a lot of inaccuracies being told here. People are tripping up on stories and just saying any damn thing. Now, here's the thing. When Suge was in jail, right after Pac and Biggie died, right? Suge has been in jail. He was in jail when Biggie died. He was in jail. While in jail, the head of Death Row Records, who was running everything that you had to run things by, was Reggie Wright Jr. Miss LA, she just put a stamp on there. Reggie was the guy. If you talk to Suge in prison, he'll tell you, call Reggie. Call the office and talk to Reggie. You got to go through Reggie. Everything had to go through Reggie. Why? Because Reggie Wright Jr. ain't going to make no goddamn decisions on Death Row Records without contacting Suge goddamn Knight. He wasn't going to do nothing without Suge. If Suge's approval, Reggie didn't do a goddamn thing. And I know that from artists who was there when Reggie was in charge. Reggie didn't make no goddamn decisions. All his decisions came from, well, let me go run it back. I'm gonna send somebody to go talk to Suge, and they'll send a message back, and then we'll find out what we're gonna do. Just let me know. And anything else that was major, that had a real decision had to be made, Suge Knight was making those decisions from jail. And I was getting back to Reggie what Suge wanted done. Guys would come and tell Reggie what Suge wanted done, and it was done. Reggie didn't make no goddamn decisions. So if that's the case, and everybody knows that's the case and how it's going down, why is this a problem? Can somebody explain to me why that's a problem? Now you see there's a hole in the story. You got two liars lying on each other. That's what's happening here. You got two liars ready to lie and snitch on each other. Reggie and Suge. Two liars. Sitting here talking about each other every day now. Reggie can't walk. He's in a wheelchair. Suge's in jail. They suffering their hell right now. They living their hell that they didn't cause. Jada Pinkett already said she thought Suge had something to do with it. Just by the way he brought the ashes. I'm not saying he did or didn't do. I'm going off their statements. The statements that these people keep making on social media. So if you're going to keep making these statements on social media, that's what's the problem. You keep making these implications on social media about what went down. Y'all keeping it going. That's what y'all are doing. Mm, no, exactly. My thing is, I'm going off the statements that they made. Yeah, well, yeah. Suge made the statement saying that's what happened. Reggie is trying to say that didn't happen at all. I ain't had nothing to do with that. And I was there and then I went somewhere else and did this and that. But according to Suge Knight's testimony or statement, because he didn't testify anything, once he made that statement, because he's made a lot of statements, he said somebody walked up to the car. Then he said, and Gene Dale agreed with it. Yeah, I heard that too. I heard. I heard that. I heard somebody walked up on the car. That's what I was told too. Somebody walked up and did that. And I'm just like, the things people would say. That's what gets me. It's the things people would say that makes it crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's the things people would say and how they would say it. Right. Why would you say exactly? Why would you sit there and say, right? Why would you sit there and say Reggie did it and David Kenner set it up? I just learned that my lawyer, David Kenner, set up a hit. Your lawyer, David Kenner, is going to go behind your back to work with the security guard to take out Tupac Shakur. The mindlessness of it does not make sense. They're going to orchestrate a hit that was the most random of all things. Like everything would have to go completely perfect to design in order for it to happen the way it did. No, it was a lot of nonsense to the picture. I'm saying Suge Knight has opened his mouth so much, he stepped in it. Because now you saying that you learned that Reggie did it and he with your lawyer, David Kenner. And anybody who knew Suge or knew of Suge in 1996, that was the monstrous, dangerous Suge Knight, who had millions of dollars. He had access to anything he wanted. He had police officers on the payroll. They even had one of the DAs on the payroll. And you telling me Reggie Wright Jr. is going to cross that man and go out and do a hit on his number one star artist? Well, homie, you better make sure Suge go with him, because that's gonna mean you up out of there. So I'm not making the insinuation. Suge Knight made that insinuation about Reggie Wright Jr. So if he's saying that's what he learned, he was working with Reggie Wright Jr. for years after Tupac's death. Even as far as 2 years ago, he was reaching out to Reggie Wright about a podcast, trying to get in contact with them to get a podcast show. If this the guy you found out that killed your mans, that you cared about, that really messed up your life, why would you be contacting this man? Trying to get a podcast deal with him and all this. You've been doing deals with Reggie for years over the years. Over the 20 some odd years he been gone. How many times you worked with Reggie Wright Jr.? Hmm? This is a guy that's not that bright. I don't, even if they, I don't deal with people. Both of them lie. So you're dealing with two liars, okay? But in the middle, the two liars gonna keep telling the truth about each other and keep throwing truths against each other, right? So pretty soon, everything gonna start to spill out. Hmm. Well, the thing is, Reg now could talk like he was a big man and he could say this or that. and he's the big boss, and he could talk like the way he do. Hmm. Suge mad at Reggie because he said he used Big Jake as a shield. So he was really mad about that. I mean, that was some stuff that could have really gave Reggie some heat back home. My thing is, when the security tells the head of right way security, tell people who have security to have firearms on them, to not bring guns around them, and not have any guns on them is weird. When they have license to carry firearms and their security. I could see him telling the outlaws or anybody riding with him, like, hey, don't y'all bring no guns. Yeah, Suge got all kind of health problems. Uh, being in jail. Oh, they was hustling. They was trying to get every dime they can get. But they was spending all their time hustling. But my thing is this. I need that question answered. If you Suge Knight and they call Suge back up, say, Suge, why was you working with Reggie all those years? Reggie Wright Jr. is not going to cross Suge Knight. And if he did all the things that you said he did, Suge, he ain't going to do that without talking to you. Suge Knight keeps talking about he got shot. Suge Knight, there's no reports of Suge Knight being shot anywhere in that incident in that car. He got cut by flying glass. He didn't get shot in no back of the neck, had to have surgery. The bullet still lodged in his neck, and it's an inch from his spine. Like, he did that interview and lied so just unbelievable. It was like, how would you even feel sitting up there telling that lie? It was crazy. Well, when people make up a decision or they mind to do something and it don't work out,
across the table
listen,
and into my face, aware, as I am, that we could be overheard if we don't keep our volume in check. Pac makes it clear that I don't need to be worried about him, and that since I got all Hollywood, I've forgotten what it takes to be a real nigga out here. Where's all this going? My genuine concern is his display of vengeance since he was shot and released from prison, and his participation in the steady brewing of the East Coast West Coast beef. It's about to put Pac back in jail or worse.
this Jada
He
Pinkett.
cuts me off. I know what you think about me. He pauses a beat. I can see your thoughts and your dreams. I know what you're thinking. You can't fucking hide from me. You done gone all Hollywood, but that's cool. That's why I got my real partners out here. I lean back across the table into Pac's face, try my best to keep my voice down. Who the fuck do you think you talking to, Pac? Talking about I'm all Hollywood. You're being reckless. We are seething at each other with a calm intensity like two bulls in a stare down, fixing to charge. I don't even know who the fuck you are anymore, he says. Ditto, nigga. The disagreement gets more intense and goes back and forth. It's just as that I am no longer a real one, and mine is that he's mad because I'm not placating his bullshit. Pac's not having my pushback, and I'm not having his disrespect. Next thing I knew, he was done talking, and so was I. When I got up to walk toward the exit of the restaurant, I was so angry my legs were shaking. We didn't say goodbye to each other and went our separate ways. As soon as I got in my car, I called my then manager, James Lassiter, who was Will's longtime friend and manager as well. In a torrent of tears, I exploded. Fuck Tupac! I don't want to do that stupid movie or anything with him. I never want to talk to him again. I tried to calm down, knowing, of course, I shouldn't be ranting to James. He was not built to take on my hysteria. All I could do was try to catch my breath. I couldn't believe that Pac and I had just had that exchange. Then again, this kind of blow up between us was not new. The drill had always been that we would give each other the silent treatment. He was one of the few people on the planet with whom I could fight that harshly and still know there was no love lost between us. pissed as I was, I knew, like always, that time would pass and we would say our apologies, hug it out, and we'd be back. But he was gonna have to call me first this time, and I was not budging on that. He had been way out of line. So, Pac was shot in Las Vegas, and I was in Toronto shooting the movie Woo. I was on the set when I got a page from Afeni. I called her immediately. As soon as she let me know what had happened, I told her, I can shut the set down right now and come to you guys. It's okay. He's in a coma, but he's gonna be all right. With no panic or alarm in her voice, Afeni continued to give me the rundown on him.
So, I'm gonna get to the part y'all need to hear.
How dare she spread a fucking terrible rumor like that? How dare she do that? Will, seeing how upset I was, told Cherie he would call her back. Just then I got a knock on the door of my hotel room, and it was Fawn. As soon as I saw the frozen pain and sorrow on her face, I knew what Cherie had said was true. My knees buckled. I saw myself on this planet without him here, somewhere on it. I felt a huge piece of love for me leave the world, part of myself gone. In its place was rageful sadness. Pac had been a mirror, a reflection of the best of myself, a tether. My heart felt ravaged, like a million stabbings every second. My worst fear had come true. For too long, I drank the Kool-Aid and allowed the illusion of his invincibility to squander time. I hadn't spoken to him in damn near a year. I could not punish Pac's memory by thinking that he left this world in any way, questioning how much I loved him. Because I know for a fact he did know. Yet I shared space with Suge as Pac was dying. When I heard that Pac had been cremated, I was very upset and immediately believed Suge was the one behind that decision, which made me ask questions. I never heard Pac say that he wanted to be turned into ashes. Never. Tupac Amaru Shakur had been murdered, and the first action was to burn his body into ashes. What if we needed his physical body for more evidence? Pac only ever talked about being buried in a casket. He spoke of it in songs and told me of the morbid fantasies he had of his death, envisioning masses in the streets following his casket to its grave. In my mind, something wasn't right. To make matters worse, at the private memorial Afeni chose to have in Jasmine's backyard, I answered the door. And it was Suge, who delivered Pac's ashes into my very hands. In the cardboard box one is given by the crematorium. I'll never forget the slight smile in his eyes when he handed me that box, like, there's your homie, homie. Now, I could be putting 20 on 10 because of the state I was in. Between Suge's smirk as he handed me those ashes and my assumptions about Suge's involvement in what happened to Tupac, I might have been putting a lot of color on the moment. But I tell you what, and I do myself no good to say it, I wanted him to pay. I never felt that intense need for revenge in me before, not even after being held at gunpoint. Pac was dead, and Suge handed me his ashes in a little cardboard box like it was just another fucking day. No, I'm sorry for your loss. Nothing. I felt helpless, and I hated myself for my helplessness. I hated that I had no way to get even, take revenge, confront Suge, find the joker who pulled the trigger, make somebody fucking pay. I hated hated the streets. I hated hip hop and every fake ass gangster acting like they really on some gangster shit. When within only 6 months, we had 2 hip hop giants dead, Pac and Biggie, and don't nobody know nothing, and ain't nobody trying to do nothing. Fuck this bullshit and everybody in it.
So, y'all never heard that. Y'all never heard that. That's Jada Pinkett Smith. Express herself very venomously. Because she was mad. I don't speculate anything. I tell you facts. Now, you just heard the words of Jada Pinkett Smith. How she felt. What went down after the fact. When Suge gave her the ashes. What he said. How he just handed it to her like it was nothing. Now, we're not speculating anything. Why was Suge working with Reggie Wright? If he felt that this was the information, first he told us it was his wife Sharitha working with Reggie. Then he said somebody walked up to the car. Then he said Pac was alive. He said he got shot. Medical report said he got cut, got a couple of stitches from cut glass. That was it. Diddy never did anything to that man. Big never did anything to that man. So why wouldn't she? But you weren't going to see her around Suge Knight no more. Will Smith, none of them. Reggie said it was a security guy that gave Jada the box, not Suge Knight. Well, Jada said it was Suge. And from Suge's interview, from his demeanor, and a whole bunch of stories that's been told, and from what you saw, you didn't see any sadness out of Suge. You didn't see any remorse. You didn't see any of that. Now, I'm not saying anything that he had something to do with. I'm just saying there was no remorse. Nothing. Like I said, they both saying all these different things about each other. And both of them are all messed up. Reggie in a wheelchair. Um, he getting some movement back in his hands. He had all these strokes. The COVID thing messed him up. And Suge is losing all this weight. He about blind in one of his eyes and losing sight in another eye, from what people done told me. So Puff had nothing to do with it. Puff had nothing to do with Big or Tupac murder. Nothing. Absolutely zero to do with it. That's 100% sure. Diddy had nothing to do with it. And Gene Deal know that. That's the part that really pisses me off. It's like, that man it had nothing to do with that. Stop trying to tell the stories to insinuate it's $1 million check. This was a hit. Like, he put $1 million on Pac, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody gonna pay $1 million for no hit. Like, you would spend less than that on a team. They spent $1 million on Pac, less than 20,000 on B. Really? Oh, Reggie is one of the biggest liars there is in the game. No, Reggie White Jr. will lie. He lies a lot. So that's the thing. These are two liars. So you got two liars telling stories, consistently telling stories. Reggie lie a lot. No, he did not. Snoop Dogg is not no murderer, set you up to take you out type of dude. No, that's not Snoop at all. Snoop Dogg. Snoop had nothing to do with any of it. Nothing. Zero zilch. Yes, he was jealous of the relationship of Suge and Pac. 100%. Because he felt disrespected. Pac was very disrespectful to Snoop. And this is before they even went out Vegas. I mean, went to the MTV Awards. That's why Snoop even went and said that on the radio. Like, man, I ain't got no problems with Puff and Big and none of them. I do a song with them. I ain't got no problems with them. They ain't did nothing but showing us love. So how I'm gonna come with all this hate? Hawk was cool with Diddy. No. Nah. What? Who said Pac was cool with Diddy? Who was just talking about Snoop? What is you talking about? No. Somebody had told him on a walkie-talkie what had happened. He probably misinterpreted what happened. Everybody had like those walkie-talkie things. So somebody probably told him like, yo, Suge and them, they just got shot and killed, him and Tupac. So he probably just heard that on the walkie-talkie thing, just like everybody else. But Suge was in LA. Like, I mean, Snoop was not going to the fight because they don't roll with Suge like that. Pac roll with Suge. They normally don't do that. Like, they group don't roll with them unless they was like going on a vacation. Like when they went to, and the last time they went, Pac got into it with Corrupt, and it was all this extra thing about to be Dog Pound and Outlaws, and they wasn't really getting along anyway. So it was just a mess. So yeah, it was just problems, man. So they had to find a way to coexist because they all had beef with each other and wasn't really cool. Well, it was like when Pac started hanging with MOB, he stopped hanging with Daz and them like that. Because they do not hang with them. Period. So it was like, mm-mm. But before that, he was with Daz and recording and knocking out songs with Daz, and that was it. And Daz can get that work done quick. So that's how that went. Yes, Jada Pinkett turned down Dead Presidents. To show solidarity to Tupac, she turned down Dead Presidents. Yes, and I remember the Hughes brothers saying they would never work with her again. They was like, we won't work with her no more. Do I think they would have resolved their issue? Yes and no. Because it was so much tension. Like, I think Napoleon was sleeping with one of the Dog Pound's baby mamas. So they was coming out the same building and ran into each other, and like they lived in the same building as the baby mama or whatever, and it was about to be a clash between them two. And it's just a mess. Death Row was about to fall apart. Anyway, the problem that Tupac had with the situation with them, with Death Row, was they were about to be audited. Tupac wanted to see his records. He wasn't getting it. He asked for his books. He didn't get the books. He fired David Kenner because he didn't get his books. And he was going to get an auditor and come in and audit Death Row. You cannot audit Death Row Records. Let me read that again. You cannot audit Death Row Records. They cannot go through an audit. Now, that could have all been worked out. But that's dangerous to try to audit Death Row Records. That's a very dangerous situation. I would not have even attempted to dream to do an audit on Death Row Records. No. But when Pac died, there was an audit done to get his records of his accounts, and they found out Tupac didn't own this. He was paying for Nate Dogg's child support. Some of his money was going towards Nate Dogg's child support. It was crazy, and he had no idea of it. It was a mess. None of the house wasn't his, the condo wasn't his, none of the cars was in his name, nothing. He had a few $100s, like I don't know how many thousands in the bank account. That was it. All I know is the Death Row songs, you can stream them, right? You can stream Doggy Style, The Chronic, all the Death Row songs, right? Who you think get paid off those songs? When they say Death Row Records, who's that imprint gonna go to? Snoop, right? So if Snoop got the rights to get that music on streaming platforms and put it where he wants to and can pull it off, if he wants to pull it off, then he controls the music. He should just be talking sometimes. It's like, dog, if it ain't the real Death Row, then who controls the music? That's who controls it. That's the real Death Row then. It ain't the real row. Yeah. I'd be like, do you got the Chronic? Do you got all the old songs? Nah. But if it got me on it, then that's the real row. I tell you, because, see, Reggie, he be lying. See, Reggie, I just found out, him, David Kenner, they tried to take out Tupac. They the one who set up Tupac and take him out. See, I just learned that. It's like, what the hell is you talking about? No, Puffy was not involved in the shooting of Tupac Shakur in New York City. And yeah, he had nothing to do with that. No. Suge Knight made that statement. He also stated in the past that Sharita and Reggie Wright both worked together to put the hit out on Tupac. Then he reached out to Reggie Wright to try to get him help on the podcast. So, which one is it? Sharita, your ex-wife, worked with Reggie Wright to take Tupac out. And they supposed to take you out too. It was a double hit. But you don't get hit at all, just Tupac. They supposed to take you out and Tupac. And that was the plan. Your ex-wife wanted to do that so she can run death row and make Reggie like the vice president or something. And I'm like, well, if that was the case, when did you find all that out? This was one of his other stories he told. Because you was working with Reggie for years. Then you went, and just a couple years ago, hitting up Reggie like, hey, Reggie, how can I get in the podcast game? I'm trying to get my podcast deal and all this. When you was trying to do all this stuff from prison, you was contacting Reggie now. What changed? I thought this man took out your guy. Pac was your man. He was, everywhere he go, man, he threw up that death row chain. He loved death row. Now, if that's what you're talking about, why are you working with Reggie? Why are you calling Reggie? Why are you trying to contact Reggie? So y'all could do a podcast. Why would you do that? If that's the man you said did all these things. And when did you learn of this David Kenner thing? Your lawyer is going to work with your security guard to take out the damn you and Tupac. The lawyer. Like I said, man, liars. Because I'm lying about what? Okay? Mr. Hill, what are we lying about? Oh, you trying to? Oh, okay. You talking about a whole nother. You talking about the Terry guy is talking about. Yeah, I'm telling the truth. Of course, I always tell the truth. This Terry guy is talking about. The Terry guy is talking about the Quad City 94 thing. So y'all talking about two different things. He said he was up there that night with henchmen, and Pac had issues with both of them. Wrong. Pac had no issues with Puffy, none of them at this time. None of them at all. Not even Jimmy Henchman. Did not have a problem with Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman. See, and now he talking about Quad City. Puffy had nothing to do with Quad City Studios. The Quad City Studios happened because Tupac, coming out of the club, did an interview. Somebody saw him coming out of the club. He was hot. He was on trial for what had just happened. And he went into what it was called the Reporter, and they're putting it in the Daily News. All his words when he interviewed Tupac, and he was going on a rant. And he said all these New York rappers are caught up in an extortion deal. They got these dudes up under extortion, and all these rappers is the same, and these drug dealers and all these people, they did all this. And Jack was trying to contact him after this interview. He would not answer Jack calls. His lawyer said, don't talk to these people. He was like, why am I, I'm the only one on trial? They ain't here. Pac bashed all of them in the Daily News and said some things that you weren't supposed to say. And That was all in the papers. It was like these New York drug dealers got these rappers and stuff under extortion. And once he said that, they was gonna rob him because he wasn't answering his phone. And Jimmy called him up, told him he was gonna pay him $7, asked him to do a song with Lil Sean. While he was in New York, he was finna cut a track in New York anyway. So he was filming, just got through filming Above the Realm or whatever before all that happened. Pac was not even allowed to come back on the set anymore because he ended up getting shot. And they finished it with an extra. He saw Andre Harrell the morning before he was shot. Andre Harrell, they met on the set of New York Undercover. Malik Yorborough, whatever, brought him in. He talked to Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell was going to get him to talk to the president of the company. And this is where Gene Deal and me clash because he didn't understand what was going on. He was talking too fast, too busy to go with a narrative instead of knowing the truth. The truth, instead of saying, okay, that is true, let me just say, all right, you got that. That's true. Nope, he tried to hit me with a remix and said, oh, well, if they wanted to do the show, Andre Harrell don't make that decision. It's the bosses. That's right. The bosses didn't want Tupac. He was banned from Fox because he had got banned because he got in a fight with the limo driver when he did In Living Color. The limo driver sued Tupac, In Living Color, and Fox. So they banned Tupac from the station Fox. So Tupac talked to Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell told him everything was going on. He alleviated all the stress that they had built up about him because he had a bad reputation at this point. And he said, all right, I'm going to set up a meeting on Monday, whatever, when the bosses come in, I want you to tell them the story just how you just told it to me. Exactly, because he's like, I want you on New York Undercover. He did. He wanted him on the show. Andre's like, man, I'm going to fight for you to get on this show. I'm going to set up a meeting with the bosses, have them on Monday because I want you on this show. And he was like, man, that'd be perfect, man. I need that. That's what's up. He never had a problem with Andre Harrell, and Andre Harrell never hated Tupac. This is what Gene Deal doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to that. Never had a problem with Andre Harrell. Now, here comes the night. They're supposed to be recording songs. Andre Harrell is up there kicking it. They on the 3rd floor. They in Quad City Studios. Biggie's in the building. Puffy don't even know he's there. He's on the 5th floor. It's just like an apartment building. You don't know who's all in there. Everybody's on different floors. The Quad City where they were recording is on the 3rd floor. That's where Puff, Jimmy Henchman's up there. They got Lil Sean, and they recording studio in that section there. Biggie's all the way on the last floor, which is the 5th floor. So that's why they was at the top looking down when Tupac was coming in. Pac had never been in there, and if you haven't been down there, it's hard to find the place. So that's why he was circling, and what's the name kept blowing him up. Where you at? Where you at? It was Jimmy Henchman. And so he said, Jimmy told him he didn't have the 7,000. He's like, man, I got this. And Pac said, well, I ain't going to do it. You ain't got the 7,000. I ain't doing it. He was like, man, I had the money. Just come. I got the 7,000. Just come. So when he went there, the guys was down there waiting on him to show up. They was down there pretending they reading the newspaper, pulled out guns or whatever, told them to get down or whatever. And Pac tried to reach for the gun. And they tussled. Shot went off. Well, he told Pac he could write him a check after the fact because he said he didn't have it on him, but he said, you know what? I had the cash for you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Pac rolled over, got up, made his way to the elevator, and went to the floor he's supposed to go to. He went to the third floor, blood all over the elevator. What's his name tried to go down the stairs to go get Pac or whatever, and because C's had went down first, and they pointed a gun at C's, and C's went back up like, "Yo, Pac getting jacked downstairs." So when that happened, they went down there with their guns, and they was gonna go down there, and then the cop came up on the elevator. There's blood everywhere. He went into this Quad City thing. They were shocked. Puff and them seeing him like, whoa, what the hell? Jimmy Henchman didn't help him. He just stood back, quiet. Pac's like, man, these motherfuckers tried to kill me, man. So there's a blunt in the ashtray. He grabs the blunt, takes a hit of the blunt, and then he's like, I can't believe it, man. He tried to kill me. And Puff and them, they trying to give him some, towels. They calling police. They trying to help him. Then he's like, I gotta pee. He goes to the bathroom to try to pee. He can't pee. He's like, it's burning. And it's like gunpowder. And he's just like, like it hurt when he's trying to pee. And that's how he realized he had shot himself in the nuts. Or he got shot in the nuts, rather. So they were only gonna rob him. It wasn't supposed to be that. Because down in that area of New York, they don't do crime down there. Like that's like Manhattan. That's where the money area is. You don't do nothing like that. That's why the police came like that and enforce. They don't have shootings down there. And that's by them just shooting made it a worse scene than they could ever imagine. But they felt like we had to shoot, or we were gonna get shot. So they took the jewelry, whatever, robbed them of all the jewelry, whatever, took off, and got up out of there. And when they left, and Pac survived, and he gave a middle finger to the camera as he was going away on the stretcher. So again, Puff, Andre Harrell did not know this was gonna happen. Gene Deal's a goddamn lie when he said that both of them had to know. They didn't know anything about any of it. Puff went there to spy on Biggie and say, I'm there to make sure you not writing songs and all this stuff for Junior Mafia. Because I want my credits if you do. I'm like, if that was the case, whatever. But there have been plenty of times Lil Sean, Diddy, and all these people hung out at the studio. It'd be tons of people at the studio. Puff was always in the studio. He was at Quad Studios plenty of times hanging out there. When no hits going down, nothing. He's been in the studio plenty of times. He comes, dips in, and he'll leave or whatever. So he just happened to be there when all of this was going on. Andre Rail just stopped in because they was talking about this record label that they trying to do. This whole thing that went on wasn't supposed to happen. Pac was never supposed to be shot in New York. He was never coming up there to get the $7,000. He was supposed to come up there, get robbed, get humbled, and then they was gonna run him some bread and said, okay, now you learned your lesson. Watch your mouth. Don't why you can't just be out here saying X, Y, and Z. So didn't go that way. They was dealing with a crazy MF named Tupac. What is Big supposed to be loud about? That's what I'm saying. Biggie didn't see nothing. Biggie was on the roof. Biggie had nothing to do with any of it. So what is Biggie supposed to do? Biggie, you quiet about it. Quiet about it. He didn't see nothing. When he came downstairs, they was wheeling Pac out on a stretcher. So what is Biggie supposed to tell? See, y'all be listening to too much interviews and all this other stuff. Pac knew Big ain't had nothing to do with that. Everybody and their mama told Pac. His cousin from jail told him. Everybody know, like, dog, you know Big ain't had nothing to do with that. Nah, bro. The whole thing was a setup, bro. The whole thing was a setup. Jimmy wanted him for a bird. Jimmy didn't. Look, man, it was a setup. Okay? He ran his mouth in the Daily News. He was going to get taught a lesson for running his mouth in the Daily News. And they was, because he was just wouldn't shut up. He kept going. So they wanted to send him a message, take his jewelry and everything. Trust me, I know this because one of Jimmy's men, I don't know if he's still here today. He's a Haitian dude. We met him at Wyclef's studio in New York. He was recording. He actually recorded songs with my cousin. I know they freestyle together. We used to have him on tape. He was one of, like, he was the MC, the Haitian dude that Wyclef was going to, try to help out. But dude, his whole back is bad. $150s all across his back. His whole back cut up with buck, like, oh my God. His back looked like a horror show. He done been stabbed, shot, $150 like crazy. He looked like Michael Blackson. He looked just like Michael Blackson. Skinny dude. But man, that dude he was the one that told us every single thing you know now really about what happened that night. And that, no, this was supposed to happen. No, he told us it was Jimmy. 100% like, oh no, that's Jimmy. They ain't had nothing to do with Jack. Like, he really said that wasn't Jack. Like, everybody think that Jack gave the call. Jack may have gave the call, may not. That part I don't know. All I know is Jimmy orchestrated that. Biggie had to do. Mr. Hill, stop listening to interviews. You got time to find out what happened. Biggie, Pac words was Biggie had time to find out what happened. Like he said, when Method Man was on the West Coast, he got robbed. Pac let him know who was involved. First of all, that wasn't Meth. One of the Wu-Tang members got robbed. It wasn't Meth. He contacted Method Man and got the chain back to them. Because that wasn't Suge them orders to do nothing. The dude from, was with Riz and them. He was unruly. And they took his jewelry. They punked him and took his jewelry up. And he was in 662 Day Club. So when that happened, it was like, whoa, dude. You just robbed? So he was with RZA. Yeah, Pac said a lot of things that wasn't 100% accurate, but no, it was the RZA's guy. He was one of the guys with the RZA, and he ended up getting robbed. And they got the chain back, sent the chain back, and they was like, look, it wasn't our orders. It happened in 662, so that was their club. They found out who the guy that stole it. They got the chain back, sent it back to Method Man. It's like, yo, that wasn't our orders. None of that. So no, RZA didn't find out who it was. He just got the chain back. Pac never found out who did what and got the chain back. Biggie is in the studio with them. Biggie job ain't to go around and find out who robbed Pac. Plus, Pac knew basically before Big knew. Pac already knew. His cousin in jail knew. And he the one that got the info to Pac. You didn't saw his interview. He done been on the internet and everything. His cousin from Michigan, who was out in New York, all that, yeah. That same, the same. Three people said Puffy knew it was going down. And let me tell you, 1, 2, 3 was all lying. Dexter Isaac, whoever the hell he is, lie. Gene Deal, lie. Tupac said that, lie. They all three are lying. They knew what happened, the whole nine. So Pac already knew who did it and what. When he did the Vibe interview, he told everybody what happened, and the writer screwed it up and let Tupac down. I never forgive him for that interview. Having Tupac sound all crazy in the Vibe interview, and Tupac was like, "You let me down." He was, man, I ain't want to cause no war where they can come and take me out. What they gonna do to you? Pac like, I'm in jail, my life in danger. This might be the last words I ever say. And you put it out like that, changing the words, changing the names of the people. I'm like, dog, Pac didn't, man, that was the horrible, horrible interview. Then he started putting the audio out, the real audio, so you can hear Tupac's voice, what he actually said. He named these people, and he wanted it to be named. He wanted that printed. He's like, I want them to know. Because I was like, Tupac hiding the names, that's not something he do. Right. Jimmy Henchman had a conversation with Puffy. I guarantee you that happened. They're in the same studio. Here, let me explain this to you. Puffy and Andre Harrell both know that there is a robbery staged for Tupac that's supposed to happen downstairs, and they're going to be in that building. Let that sink in. Andre Harrell, y'all are rest in peace, Andre Harrell. But here's the thing. Here's the thing y'all not really getting in y'all head. Andre Harrell, who got Fox, television, music, everything, right? Diddy. He's got the Biggie album coming out. He getting ready to launch his label. He got Clive Davis money. He trying to get this Craig Mack Biggie thing. off the ground, right? Puff don't even have money like that yet. This is what people don't realize because y'all too young. Y'all think of Puff Daddy now with the hundreds of millions of dollars. Puff was broke back then, not like broke, but he wasn't even hot yet. They had no records out. Bad Boy Records didn't even exist yet. They had just really just started getting started. They didn't release nothing. So Biggie album was not out yet. Biggie album was not out yet. Ready to Die was not out yet. Biggie album came out in 95. I know what I'm talking about. Now, right. Listen to somebody that knows what they're talking about. Now, and clarify it for you. So, you believe and you're listening to the facts, right? And you sit here and believe that Tupac Shakur would be in concert. I mean, the Sean Puffy Combs would be in concert with Jimmy Henchman and Andre Harrell. They're going to be teamed up with Jimmy on this big plan of Tupac's getting robbed downstairs, and they're going to be in the building. They wouldn't be nowhere near that goddamn robbery. Do you understand? They wouldn't be nowhere near it. They would be pissed that they even had to be there for this. That they was set up and was used, and this is going down. They have no idea this is happening. And this is what pisses me off with Gene. Gene, this pisses me off. You know better. Y'all know you hate Puffy. Congratulations. You hate Puffy. We all know that. But common sense, you've been around this man. You know this man. He don't want to be around nothing that's going on. He be telling people, man, what you do that for? That's stupid. Like, man, I'm right here, man. This can get me in trouble. He don't want no drama around him. Shine went and shot up the club. Diddy didn't want no drama around him. That cost him almost everything. Do you think he want to be around when stuff is going down? That's never been his demeanor for 30 years. Yes, Biggie was upstairs recording Players Anthem. They was on the top working on Junior Mafia's album. They was recording Players Anthem or one of the other songs on that. But yeah, they was doing that session. They had no idea about no Tupac. Nobody ever had any beef with Tupac. Not Big, not Puff, none of them. Send the link. I wish I was on StreamYard. I would have sent the link. Oh, I wish he was my cousin. I'll see him at the family reunion and kick his ass out the wheelchair. When was the Quad City incident? When did Pac get shot then? You pull it up. November 94. And he said Ready to Die came out in September. I don't remember Ready to Die being out, Bree. I don't remember Ready to Die coming out. That's crazy because I don't even remember it being like that. I don't remember Biggie blowing up into Tupac was already. I don't remember Juicy being out to like. No, I really don't. But nevertheless, who cares? That has nothing to do with anything. The fact of the matter is, Biggie and Tupac did not have a problem. Pop Puffy did not have a problem with Tupac. There was no jealousy of Tupac. Biggie was finna go leave and join Tupac. All of that is nonsense. It is nonsense. The only people knew that was going on there was Jimmy and his crew. That's it. Andre Harrell didn't know. Puffy didn't know. Nobody else knew what was going on up in there. And they know that. Gene knows that. They just doing it for content. They think it's content just by misleading the younger people that don't know no better. To try to leave the illusion that that was the case. No, Cino ain't slacking. Cino just don't mean nothing. That's what I mean. It don't mean nothing. That's like saying Biggie wearing blue socks. Biggie had on blue socks and a red cap. I'm like, dog, that's like 30 years ago. I'm sitting in a chair, I ain't on the internet. Shoot. I'm talking about the events that matter. They'd be like, was he eating Wendy's or a Big Mac? I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe Wendy's? No, it's a Big Mac. This don't matter. Like I'm saying, Puffy was broke. Okay? Puffy was broke. Not busted broke, but he was hood rich. He was broke. He didn't have no money at the time. Puff did not have any money like that at the time. No. No sirree. No money. All the money that was coming from her was Clive, and they was putting it all out into the studios. They had to grind and work to get this thing off the ground. It didn't matter because it still don't matter. It has nothing to do with the situation. Did Biggie have something to do with Pac getting shot? No. Did Puff have something to do with it? No. Did Puff know about it? No. Andre Harrell know about it? No. They had nothing to do with it. So that's the thing. Definitively, 100%, they didn't have anything to do with it. So that's where we leave it. Puffy knew. Puffy didn't know a goddamn thing. Yeah, I feel you. Anything else you want to know? That's right, Urban Flavors. Anything else you want to know? Vanilla Ice is at the scene. I know it was Vanilla Ice. Do 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 do. Now, Pac, word to your mother. It was Vanilla Ice. Do I think Puff will get out in October? Yes. Oh, you talking about kicking the door? Yeah, I didn't agree with that. If Pac was already gone, why would you be throwing lines at him? It's just like he ain't here to come back. So yeah, that just didn't make sense. Why do you think Faith would have sex with his enemy? Faith is a hoe. That's it. Faith has been a hoe, was a hoe. At Christmas would sing ho 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 songs. She's a hoe. Yeah, Faith went out there to get some money. She was pissed at Diddy, left the tour that they was on, ended up going to California where she's from. She's originally from Cali. She went out there hanging out with her friends. They was partying where they can get her some weed so they can drink and just chill and kick it while she out there. She wanted all her money up front. She didn't get it. Puff was like giving them per diem. She thought it was some bull. He was gonna pay them after they did their shows and not give it to them all at once. Even though Al Heyman paid for the entire tour and gave them all the money at once, gave it all to Diddy. And Diddy was just siphoning them the money. So she just like, F this tour. I'm getting off the tour. So she got off the tour, got mad at Big, got in a fight with him, got in a fight with Puff, went over to Cali, kicked it, stayed over there with Pac and them. And I'm like, how she not know there's a beef? Because she was like, well, Big always told me they was homeboys. But I'm like, you don't really know that it's hot right now. How could you not know that? That it's tension. But at that time when Pac came out, he wasn't like going to war with Biggie them. He just like, I ain't really dealing with them. Like, ain't really, he wasn't on it no West Side Ride. Till his album came out, he came and did Saturday Night Live. It was no problems. Nobody in New York was out there. He had no problems. Me Against the World was out. He did his songs. There was no problems. I mean, not Me Against the World, but All Eyes on Me. No, she ain't about her birthplace. I'm saying that's where she's from, Cali. She was on the West Coast. I ain't saying where she was born. Saying she from out there. She could have been born in Florida, but she was from Cali. She stayed in Cali. Right. I'm trying to tell him. I don't know what this dude he's. Would I tap Faith Evans? No. Faith Evans was not a hot chick to me at all. She was a fat chick at that time. But think about it. Her first daughter, China, before she met Big, she had a baby by a record producer. Then then she has a baby with Biggie. Then she has a baby with another record producer. They get married. She done drugs. She's just a hoe. She was Stevie J. She was sleeping with Stevie J now. Now I don't know who else she slept with. Faith is just a hoe. She stayed in Cali too, dog. So I'm like, what is he talking about? She stayed in both places. Stevie J is a punk. I don't think she dated Jay Z. Jay Z dated Charlie Baltimore, Biggie's other girl. He was hollering at Charlie Baltimore. He was like, I'm trolling with that comment. Thanks, Urban Flavors. I mean, I'll be trying to tell these people the truth, man. I don't know what's going on with them tonight. I don't know. I might hit it. Are you allergic to penicillin? If not, then hit it. Yes, sir. Would I ever do a Vlad interview? No. Uh,
You guys used to be drinking.
well, we'll see how it ends up. How did I feel about it? Shoot, I went live with him. We both was laughing when Gil got locked up. We took shots. We took shots. I'm like, I don't even drink liquor, but we taking shots, buddy. Yeah, William Lassane, Tupac cousin, told Pac that King Tut shot him. He said Tupac wouldn't have been shot by King Tut if he was there with Pac, which he would have been in New York. But I think he was already locked up. That's why when he went against all odds and he started naming everybody, mm, I mean, that's just crazy style. Mm. Oh man, I gotta do my movie review for that. I forgot to do one for that. No, Pac was like, y'all gotta understand that dude right there was a prop. Pac was he wasn't your ordinary human being. He was literally fearless, paranoid, fearless, would just go out in a blaze. Yeah. When everybody be like, oh, this dude is Tupac. That dude over there is Tupac. No, Tupac's just crazy. He was already that before he got shot. Fearless. That was the beginning of his problems. That's why he was set up. That whole thing with the girl, that was a setup. That's the one thing I'm glad Vlad did. And that's how I know he's feds. And he's working with the feds. Trust me. People was looking for that girl and couldn't find her. She just disappeared off the planet after that case. Like nobody seen her anywhere. Like Tupac was appealing his case. Like that case wasn't even over yet. It was a setup. The reason that they set Tupac up to go to jail because they was mad he shot the. They was mad that they shot those two cops, and that was Rudy Giuliani doing that for Vice President Quell and Bush because Bush got out of office, was getting out of office because of this. That was political. That's why his trial was the worst trial in the history of mankind. How come all these people slept with her? Tupac was never, all this stuff was getting thrown out of the case. Sodomy, all this other stuff, all that stuff was gone. They threw all that out. That was out of the court trial. It was just getting knocked off, all these cases. And they was just running Tupac's money out, draining him of his money. Yeah. Tupac was set up. Ever since he got won that case, he was a target for every police officer in the country. Yeah, I know it's pretty. Mm-hmm. Nah. All right, man. I'm finna let this phone charge. I want to answer a lot of y'all questions. All right. We'll holler tomorrow. Thank y'all for tuning in. And either Suge is lying, or if he's telling the truth, why was you working with Reggie?